What everybody, what is going on? The Catch fam, I hope you guys are doing phenomenal tonight. I hope you guys have all had a great Thursday, and I hope you guys are ready for another live 2023 fantasy football draft. We are hopping into the Chihuahua tournament through Underdog Fantasy tonight. I'm as excited as ever to be here with you guys and to throw together another squad that will hopefully make us some money. So, you guys know what to do, man. Hit that like button on the way. And if you guys are new to the channel, thank you for being here. All we do is free fantasy football content all year round. Best ball, dynasty, redraft, you name it, we do it. If you're into that, hit that subscribe button. And like I said, if you would so, hit that like button as well. But most importantly, guys, hop in the live chat. Let me know what's popping. Let me know how everyone is doing. Any fantasy football topics you guys want to go over, any NFL topics you guys want to go over, get in the live chat. We're going to have some fun tonight. We're going to talk some fantasy football. So I'm going to give it a minute or two here and let everyone kind of pile in if they do want to hop into the draft with me tonight. We definitely will have to try and time this because this tournament is filling very quickly. It's just a $4 entry, so definitely filling quickly overall. So I may try and hold off until I see a couple more names in the chat and see if anyone wants to hop in with me. Of course, if you guys are new to Underdog Fantasy, you can double your first deposit up to $100 dollar by dollar with promo code The Catch. Promo link in the description down below, on the screen, all that stuff. So let's do it, man. So I appreciate you guys letting me have a couple nights off here. And I know those of you guys in the Dynasty Leagues, there's been a lot going on, finishing up our Dynasty drafts overall, and a couple rules that in terms of like tanking and like me collecting all the entry fees, and just still some missing pieces going on. Then we had the whole fiasco with Taxi Squad not allowing second-year players. So I know there's been a lot going on in the Dynasty League, so I do appreciate you guys kind of being on standby and working with me. And, of course, if you guys have any questions regarding the Dynasty Leagues, we can go over those tonight as well. All right, I'm going to go ahead and put out a warning on Discord that I'm hopping into the draft for the night. And that way, if anybody wants to enter, they know that we are starting. So, okay, I just botched that announcement on Discord, but we will figure it out. And all right, should be good to go. Should have everyone notified. And I'm going to say I'm going to go ahead and enter tonight's draft at 11:28 p.m. Eastern time. So if you guys do want to draft, get ready, because we're going to hop in less than a minute here. So in terms of like NFL news, fantasy football relevant news, there's really not much that I think we need to go over, and we do need to enter this draft. So there we go. There are 7 spots, guys. Get on in here. 6 spots left. This will fill probably pretty quickly. I don't know. Well, 5 spots. Okay, so I'm moving too quick, but we'll see what happens here. Yeah, we had the whole Tyreek Hill thing, obviously. We'll see how that turns out. We'll see if he's going to face, any potential, anything from the league. But I just don't know if it's going to turn into that type of situation. It looks like he's going to be able to kind of probably get away with doing Tyreek Hill things. And we'll just kind of have to see how the situation unfolds and if the league is going to come down on him or not. So we'll see what happens there. But at the moment, I know it looked like the investigation was going to be over with, and then now it looks like the investigation is back open, and the individual does want to press charges on Tyreek Hill, and he probably should. So we'll see if he faces any type of suspension or anything. I don't know. I feel like probably not, and if he does, it might not be this year. Right now, it doesn't look like there's any evidence of what happened. Just in regards to the Alvin Kamara situation with everyone freaking out. There was pictures and videos that came out. So we'll see. I mean, it's not a great situation, but in terms of fantasy, I don't think there's any reason to necessarily panic just yet. But Jets safety Chuck Clark, former Raven, is out for the season with a torn ACL, which definitely stinks. But once again, nothing really from a fantasy perspective unless you were like really, really eyeing the Ravens defense this early on in the offseason, which I doubt you were. But all right, Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase are off the board here. I want to kind of go with a different pick here tonight. I mean, we got Tyreek Hill, Christian McCaffrey, Cooper Kupp, Travis Kelce, Bijan, Eckler, Diggs, A.J. Brown. Okay, this isn't too different of a pick, but let's just go with C-Mac here. I have a lot of exposure to Bijan Robinson, which I'm not upset with, and in a lot of drafts I probably am going Bijan right there. I actually have quite a bit of exposure to J.J. Chase and Tyreek Hill and even Travis Kelce, and even C-Mac. So I mean, it didn't really matter who I went with right there, but we'll just take C-Mac off the board, and we'll move right along. So there's a better view of the draft. My apologies, guys. But we'll see what I can throw together tonight. I think for tonight's draft, I'm not going to overthink it. I'm just going to try and draft the best possible team at the end of the day. So, all right, let's see who's up in the live chat tonight. Thank you guys for being here. Hope everyone's doing fantastic. Smoke at the Cat. What's up, bro? Always good to see you. Hello. Thomas, thank you for listening in at work. How are you doing tonight? Smokey, how true or probable do you think that Dalvin to the Jets is? I mean, man, at this point with the Dalvin Cook rumors, I think he could end up anywhere. I'm not really overthinking it at this point in time. I think it would be very interesting to see him go to the Jets because I do kind of feel like the Jets are in this type of situation where, you know, obviously they have Breece Hall coming off of injury, and there are some members of the fantasy community who are completely out on Breece Hall because they do think that he's going to have a slow return to the season. And then you obviously have a lot of fantasy managers who are very bullish on Breece Hall as well, with the addition of Aaron Rodgers to that offense and just the hype surrounding the Jets offense at the moment. So, getting back to my point, right, you've got Breece Hall there, but there could be concerns from within the organization that Hall, as valuable of a player he is a player that they want to move along slowly, right? I mean, obviously they went out and they drafted Izzy. They still got Zonovan Knight. They still got Michael Carter. So injury concerns to some degree with Michael Carter, I guess, maybe. But, I mean, really injury concerns with any running back. So adding a veteran like Dalvin Cook could make some sense because this is a team that is kind of going all in at the moment. And, if there are concerns around the running back position, that just gives them more depth and gives them a player that they can turn to right away who brings a lot to the table, obviously. So, yeah, I could see a scenario where it makes sense for Dalvin Cook to come on to the Jets. But I could also see where, they're already hesitant to add any additional wide receivers when they're asked about, DeAndre Hopkins, for example. I just don't know how much more that they want to. I feel like they have a pretty good roster offensively and defensively. So I feel like they're kind of at a point in the offseason where they're really going to start to be a little bit more strategic with any potential adds from free agency. But do I think it's true? I don't know, man. You guys know that I'm not very big on really speculating around free agency moves. Unless I really feel something in my gut. And even then, I'm like, don't, take it with a grain of salt. But how probable? I think it's probably as probable. It's a little bit repetitive. I think it's as likely as really any other team that we're hearing about in the mix at the moment. But, man, it's just another kind of off-season fiasco that we are stuck monitoring from the sidelines. So, Saquon Barkley's off the board at 2.9. I am on the clock, and I don't really like anyone who's available. I don't have a ton of exposure to Jalen Hurts, so let's take a quarterback early tonight, and let's see what happens. You know what we're going to do? we're going to fade wide receiver tonight. A strategy that I very, 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 very rarely ever do. We'll just see what happens. Let's see if we can land Ramondre Stevenson at pick 27. He is the second top-rated player at the moment. If not, you've got some kind of spooky selections between Josh Jacobs and Breece Hall, and the next best running back is Najee Harris. So maybe we go double quarterback. Maybe we just really stick it to the draft tonight with Ramondre Stevenson off of the board. I have never gone double quarterback this early. I don't think it's quite worth it. I was really close to doing it, and I just don't think it's quite worth it. So Josh Jacobs available, Breece Hall. Let's move down, and you know what? Let's just go with Breece Hall here, and let's go Jets, who we were just discussing. I'm still a fan of Breece Hall. I especially think during the second half of the season he's going to have a lot to offer, and I do think that the Jets are going to be in a lot of competitive games. So let's take Breece Hall there, and I do kind of wish it was Ramondre Stevenson, but we shall survive. Fantasy Dogs in the house. What's going on, man? It's always good to see you. We've got you in the draft. I did notice. Very excited to see how your team turns out from the 1.9. And definitely wishing you the best in the draft tonight. J-Dubs, what's going on, man? I'm so sad we didn't get in the same draft. But honestly, dude, I feel like recently we've had a pretty good streak of getting in the same drafts together. So I think at the end of the day, we've lucked out pretty. I know we had like a week or so where we didn't seem to get in any drafts together, and then we had I feel like 2 weeks or so where we consistently gotten all of our drafts together. So, but yeah, definitely disappointed that I didn't see your name pop up across the screen. Stober, I only have time for one draft tonight. It's good to see you. Appreciate you being in the house. I am going to be kind of hopping into more underdog drafts than usual because we only have so much time to really get these entries down. And that is definitely, throughout the offseason, one of my objectives is to get into as many underdog drafts as possible. And I definitely enjoy making that content for the channel and being able to stream these as well, as opposed to just sitting down and drafting alone, which when the puppy first opened and the pre-draft, everything was open before the rookies were actually drafted. I would sit down there was a couple weeks where I just sit down and draft a team almost every night, which is fun to a degree, but I definitely would rather draft with you guys and be able to hang out and talk with you guys and get your guys' thoughts on my team. So, third round, wrap it up here, and we will enter the fourth round. Fantasy Dog says, I'm at 9. I'm about to shock y'all. Trying to win it. I love Bijan at the 1.9. I think it's a great value. I mean, we did a mock draft off air last night with the community that Thomas set up, and I took Bijan at 1.4, and we had some randoms in the chat, and I know a lot of you guys are used to me drafting Bijan in the top 5, top 6, sometimes even the top 3. But yeah, there's some people coming at me, and even some members of our community coming at me, and I just think, guys, by the time August is here, it's not going to be crazy to see Bijan in the top 5, in top 4. It's just not. He's going to be drafted in leagues before C-Mac, before Eckler, before Kupp, before Hill, before Kelsey. And I don't quite think he's going to reach the level being drafted before JJ or Chase, with so many leagues now playing full PPR, so many leagues having more flex spots, and with so many leagues just valuing the wide receiver position more than ever, as well as the wide receiver position is becoming, in general, more valuable to fantasy football. So I don't think it's going to be quite up there, but yeah, I really just think it's going to be very common to see Bijan Robinson off the board much, much earlier than he's been going. So, when I've taken him in these underdog drafts, I have taken him in the top 5, top 6 pretty consistently. And I feel like there was a good bit of drafting where he was kind of going in that range, and then he's kind of fallen back now to like the 1.8, 1.9, 1.10 type area. Cats is in the house. What's going on, man? Always good to have you. Hope you're doing fantastic. Football news so dry right now, it's killing me. I mean, yeah, we're at that time of year. It'll speed up. It'll get here. I promise. Hopefully. We'll find out. But it's good to see you, Cats. What's up, man? Praise in the house. What's up, dude? How are you doing? Haven't seen you in a minute. What's up? What's up? All right, couple directions I could go here. I want to make this draft interesting, but man, there's some wide receivers that I really like. Oh, this is tough. This is tough. I'm going to draft a running back here. I'm going to take Kenneth Walker off the board. I'm going to make a gross team tonight. I did that because, I mean, I could see either of these teams in front of me going running back or wide receiver. Both these teams just have one running back each. One with two wide receivers, one with one wide receiver. So we'll see how this plays out. But when I look at the board right now, Jerry Jeudy, DJ Moore, Christian Kirk, Brandon Ayuk, I like all of those wide receivers. And I just kind of feel like taking Kenneth Walker. So I'm going to try and switch up that exposure tonight. Try and get some different players in general. And we'll take Walker off the board here. Go a little heavy at running back. So Jerry Jeudy's off the board to finish the 4th round. And into the 5th round we will go. Cats, I'm still going to plan a separate stream to go over the Dynasty teams / Dynasty drafts. And I'm going to make sure I notify everyone in each league before we do that so we can all kind of get together and have some fun going over their respective squads. All right, Christian Kirk's available here. Brandon Ayuk is available here. I don't quite think I have a chance at getting Trevor Lawrence as a QB2 unless I took him right now, which I am slightly tempted to. But I think it's most important I get a wide receiver here. So I'm going to go with my boy, Brandon Ayuk, take him off the board. And I basically have Christian Kirk, Brandon Ayuk, and probably even DJ Moore, who's off the board at 5.1, neck and neck. And those are guys that I've been talking a lot about throughout the offseason, that I've been a really big fan of throughout the entire offseason. And I would not be upset with any of those guys at the 5.3. That's why I took Walker off the board at 4.10, even though none of the teams in front of me ended up going running back. We're just going with the heavy RB build tonight. Why not? So yeah, Ayuk off the board there. My wide receiver 1. Usually when I draft him, he's like my wide receiver 2, 3, or 4, but we'll survive. We're just going to absolutely hammer out wide receiver. But another thing I want to do tonight is try and take a tight end a little bit earlier than usual, because I have drafted an abundance of Greg Dulcich, Cole Kmet, Jawan Johnson, some of those rookies like Sam Laporta, Trey McBride, Noah Fant. Like, I just draft the same tight ends over and over. A lot of Evan Ingram, a lot of Pat Freiermuth. And don't get me wrong, I really like those guys' value overall, but I just think that I do need to kind of start to switch up that exposure. I think the last Underdog draft that we did, sorry guys, I'm doing something on the side here. The last Underdog that we did, I did go for like kind of a 49er stack and did go after George Kittle. But just overall, I feel like I need to start switching up and getting a little bit more upside at the tight end position. So we'll see how things shake out here. But ultimately, my point being is that I'm going to just hammer out wide receiver for like majority of the next couple rounds, because we've got a pretty strong backfield, obviously. Smokey, drafting for Dynasty League was a lot of fun. Missing a slow draft right now. I do agree. It's like really weird not having that slow draft to go to every day. And like some of you guys out there a little bit concerned about, doing a slow draft in general. And I was trying to really convince you guys, like, it's really not that bad. You're just going to have like 1 to 2 picks a day. You're going to look at your phone and you're going to have an 8-hour selection to make, and it's not going to take you 8 hours, but it's just something that is going to be there for you throughout the day. And now that it's gone, like, it's just such a weird feeling. And if you've entered any like slow Underdog drafts, for example, like, you just kind of like look at your phone, and every now and then you have a pick, usually 1 or 2 a day. And I think the difference, between Underdog slow draft and the Dynasty slow drafts is the community aspect, because there's so much going on in the chat, so many trades going on, so much discussion, sometimes serious discussion, sometimes very non-serious discussion. And I think it just, now that it's over and the dust is kind of settling, everyone's kind of like, what do we do now? And all we can really do is kind of wait for the regular season and or for news to happen throughout the offseason. J-Dub says, so far I have Garrett Wilson, Christian Watson, JT Gibbs in mine. I like it. J-Dub says, taking Bijan at 4 is fair for a hero running back build. I absolutely agree. Falcons run the ball a ton. Yes, and that is certainly not going to change this year by any means, without a doubt. All right, looking on the board here, I would love Tyler Lockett here at pick 70, and then I'd love to be able to land Jahan Dotson at pick 75. But it's going to be a steep task overall. There goes Akers, so let's take... I do want to pay attention to bye weeks for wide receivers at least. Let's take Pop, Lock, and Drop it. Pop, Lock, and Drop it. Yeah, I got it right. Off the board at 6.10. I don't know. Jahan Dotson is such a popular name now in terms of late round wide receivers. I don't know if he's going to be available here at pick 75. Looking at the two teams in front of me, I mean, they're 2 wide receivers, 3 wide receivers. DeAndre Swift off the board now. We'll see what happens. But Dotson, definitely my target right there. J-Dub says, my drafters are so slow. We're at the same pace. Let's go, man. Let's go. It's almost like we're drafting together, but not really. Andrea, hello and goodbye. Thank you for stopping in for a couple minutes there. Appreciate you as always. Hope you have a great night. J-Dub says, get an elite tight end. Yeah, I feel like I have to go wide receiver here, so maybe we'll see who's available at 94. And like I said, if I don't go Pitts, Goddard, or Waller right here, I mean, I think I can still potentially get Ingram, Njoku, Freiermuth. I think I'll stick to that. I think I need to go wide receiver right here. Godfather, hello. How are you doing tonight? Always appreciate you stopping by. What's up? Thomas is kind of sad the Dynasty draft is over, but not the wife. I'm joking, was on my phone a little too much. Yeah. It definitely will kind of draw you in and keep you engaged for a while. But I do love me a slow draft. I think the Dynasty drafts have been a ton of fun. I've got one more for the year. And so for those of you guys in the last Dynasty League, which is drafting next Friday, it's going to be fun. We've got one more single quarterback league, and I'm excited for that one. I'm excited for it. But I took a little bit of a break intentionally between the last draft and this upcoming draft, and ultimately, I think it's going to be worth it. It was just good to get a little bit of a break in between, because we with so many drafts kind of back to back and going on and everything, that certainly needed to take a step back just to process everything. And I feel like with each league we've added, with each draft we've done, I've kind of learned a little bit more about what is needed in order to start a Dynasty League and commission a Dynasty League, which is certainly a lot more than a redraft league, let's put it that way. But so far, now that I've gotten into the 4th league for the community, I feel like things have ran the smoothest, and that's just usually how those things go. But yeah, I hear you, Thomas. It definitely was keeping everyone glued to their phones, and we definitely had a good time overall. So we'll see how things shape out throughout the offseason. And just like I said, I think everyone's just kind of sitting around waiting for the actual fantasy season to get here. So yeah, I mean, I've got one team that I went all in, win now with, and I'm very worried about that team. But I mean, my team just looks like a loaded, I don't know, this team has some longevity to it. We'll go over it when at least the starting roster does. The bench is a little worrisome for the long term. But then my other team is super young for the most part. I had 3 players over age 25, I think, including Aaron Rodgers and Taysom Hill, who's my final pick. But outside of that, just Austin Eckler. Everyone else is super. I think I got Burrow quarterback. He's 26, but he doesn't count. You know, he's ageless. But yeah, I feel pretty good about that team. Just a very different strategy. And then in the first dynasty draft we did for the year, the single quarterback league, my team's kind of in between. I feel like, you know, it's got some win now aspects. Traded around a little bit, acquired some picks. A pretty young team overall. So I feel like I've given you guys a good mix overall in terms of different strategies and how they can potentially turn out. Although you never know. So that's right, J-Dubs, FM picks. I had a lot of fun in league number 1 for sure. And yeah, I have no picks basically. I got a couple third rounders. I think I have a second rounder too. So, but yes, I did not envision, you know, the first couple of selections for me, Joe Burrow, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and then Dak Prescott falling to me in the third. Even at that point, I did not envision me taking the route I took of just aggressively trading up on the board and trading away picks and taking players that I personally really like not letting Rachaad White get away from me, for example, and trading for Rachaad White after he was selected. And I really had a ridiculous draft that I think a lot of members of the fantasy community in general and dynasty experts or whatever would look at and probably be like, this was really stupid. But I really did it for for the community and for everyone to kind of see how a team could turn out if you just kind of went super aggressive. And like I said, just trying to switch up a strategy for each individual league and see how it turns out. Alrighty. So the only thing that sucks about me taking Jalen Hurts is that really no way to also, at least the way the draft turned out, Devonta Smith was at 2.7 and A.J. Brown was at 1.8. So just no way to really get a stack unless I went Goddard. And I was definitely thinking about him at the 7.3, but selected at the 7.1. So there's really there's no clear-cut fantasy relevant wide receiver 3 that I can go after here for the Eagles. Really, the only thing I could do is take Rashad Penny or Kenneth Gainwell late, not Kenneth Walker. Man, I wanted Rachaad White right here really badly, even though I don't really need him. I'm just a huge Rachaad White fan, as you guys know. But yeah, I there's not really anything I can do right now in terms of going for anything exciting in terms of Eagles stacks. So what I'm going to do is make a very boring selection and draft Courtland Sutton here. Very boring. What I'm going to try and do, actually, from a realistic strategy standpoint here, is try and set up a late round stack. Hopefully we can get Allen Lazard with this next selection, and that will potentially, enable us to go Aaron Rodgers or Russell Wilson as our second quarterback. If that fails, I'll go for a New Orleans stack, go Derek Carr late, and go after guys like Rashid Shaheed, Juwan Johnson late. But overall, we'll see what happens here. Very boring pick, but we do need some wide receivers who we can kind of depend on. I know Courtland Sutton was very disappointing last year. If you did intentionally go out and draft him, with the expectations that the Broncos were going to be this powerhouse team. But at the end of the day, from a full PPR perspective, Courtland Sutton actually had an okay year, just never really had a high ceiling, but for the most part was pretty consistent in his ability to get you about 10 to 12 fantasy points on a regular basis. But man, I would have loved Rachaad White there. I think Rachaad White at the 8.9 is just stupid. I mean, I'll continue to take him at that value, but yeah. All right, let's go on Lazard here because we still need wide receiver help. But I mean, come on. C-Mac, Breece Hall, Kenneth Walker. You got a ton of upside at running back, and Jalen Hurts at quarterback. I feel all right about. J-Dub says I have the best QB rotation in League Two. I mean, overall, you know, when you look at the projections for the league in League Two, like, all right, maybe I'm thinking of League One. Yeah, that's what I was thinking of. Because you're like, you're projected some pretty heavy points in League One. Yeah, and your team looks all right, for sure. Garoppolo and Tannehill, Stroud at QB2 is a little worrisome. But in League Two, which you originally brought up, you got Fields, Richardson, Jones, Lance. Hey, that is certainly a J-Dubs-esque build, to say the least. But go Brock Purdy. It's Purdy season out here, so we'll see what happens with Lance. What was that report that came out? It was Ian Rappaport, right? Who said that Purdy's believed to be the starter, and Sam Darnold has the best shot at quarterback 2. But, you know, we'll see if there's any truth behind that. Tom, I know you're supposed to get QB early, but it was hard passing on Bijan, Garrett Wilson. At least I'm happy with the Love/Watson stack. Yeah, you know, I think your team, you're just kind of in that position where the benefit of going skill position started to outweigh quarterback on a consistent basis, which is a very tough balance. But your kind of strategy throughout all of the mocks that, you know, we ran and kind of where you felt was going to be best for you was to go after quarterbacks a bit late and stack up at skill position guys that you liked. And, I mean, you went out and did that, and can't really fault you for it. So, you know, you're happy with Jordan Love, Jared Goff at the quarterback position. Obviously a little bit light there, but overall, I mean, you have some very good skill position guys that are very young that are going to be foundational pieces for you, like Bijan, Kenneth Walker, Garrett Wilson, Christian Watson, and even Sam Laporta for that matter. So, you know, you got to remember that we're playing the long game here, and I think overall your bench looks pretty decent too, but quarterback will be my biggest concern for you, because if one of those two guys goes down, then you're definitely in a very, very shaky situation. Spence, what's up, dude? How are you doing? Hello. How goes it? Thank you for being here. All right. J-Dubs, I like my bet on Lance, but overall San Francisco quarterbacks are pain in the ass. Yeah, I mean, you know, they're in a situation where last year quarterback bit them in the ass, and like they, you know, literally just needed another quarterback on the team, essentially. So when you look at what they're doing, it makes all the sense in the world for them to, you know, stick with Purdy, Lance, and Darnold on this team, because that gives them a chance with 3 different guys. And with the new rules in place and everything at the quarterback position and depth and everything, I certainly think that it makes sense, because you know, they have Darnold on a pretty cheap contract. They have Purdy and Lance on a dirt cheap contract. So we kind of said it throughout the majority of the offseason, like there's no way that Purdy or Lance are going anywhere, in my opinion. And I still think that rings true. Unless, of course, they just got a ridiculous offer for Lance, you know, that they couldn't pass up. But I don't think that necessarily has happened. I think that would have happened before or during the draft. So, all right, as we move into these later rounds, just continuing to look at players who I can potentially build a late round stack with. So we're kind of in a position where we need to decide if we want to go Rodgers or if we want to go Russell Wilson. And I think I'm actually going to go Russell Wilson here, just because there's more potential in terms of additional players. Like with Aaron Rodgers, we just had the stack with Allen Lazard. If we go Russell Wilson, we can at least add Greg Dulcich towards the end, or Marvin Mims potentially. But before we pick him, we're going to have some fun. We're going to take my boy Devon Achane off the board, and we're going to move right along. But yeah, we're going to have to go quarterback with this next pick. I mean, Russ's ADP is 132.7, so we might actually be able to get him, unless Fantasy Dog decides to like try and ruin my draft, since he has draft ruined with me, which I can't really blame him. So I might kind of risk it for the biscuit here, but it's very close. if I don't take him here, I mean, Jerick McKinnon's here. I could reach on a rookie wide receiver like Jonathan Mingo. I could take a tight end off the board. It's kind of tough. Big decision to make here. I might just take Dulcich off the board so it's over with. And, oh, yeah, this is a tough one. Because he's the third-rated tight end available. Well, I don't know if I'm going to land both. I should have probably gone Russell Wilson, then Greg Dulcich. So maybe I'll just scrap that completely and try and go Derek Carr with my next pick. I think that's what I'm going to do. Let's go Jonathan Mingo here. This is probably not going to be worth it. But at the end of the day, at least we have Jalen Hurts on this team. So let's try and risk it here. Let's see what happens. All this talk about me going tight end early, out the window. But at least we kind of have a backup plan here. And we can take a potential shot on Derek Carr as our QB2 if all else fails. But we'll see how the draft board plays out. Spence, how do you feel about my Dynasty squad? I'm still going to hold off from reviewing Dynasty teams. And I'm going to schedule a specific day for us to go over as a community and just alert everyone. But I'll take a quick look here. Why not? D-Hop landing spot. Shoot. Who knows? I just hope it's not the frickin' Patriots at this point. I mean, I've been kind of saying that all off for OBJ and D-Hop. Like, the number one place I did not want them to go to was the Patriots. And I honestly kind of threw the Ravens in that mix too, but nothing we can do there, right? I hope it's not the Titans or the Patriots. I don't know, man. I think if it was like the Chiefs or Bills contending team like that, it'd probably be wrapped up. I don't blame D-Hop for kind of shopping himself and seeing what he can potentially land out there at all. But I certainly just have... I kind of have a feeling that he's just going to go for whoever is offering him the most money. And don't get me wrong, I don't blame him. And I think it's going to be similar to the Odell Beckham situation. I've kind of said that for a bit here. But I don't know, man. Unless, D-Hop and Bill Belichick obviously have a good relationship. So, I wouldn't be surprised if that comes into play. But I don't know, man. I really hope that we get a better overall outcome not even just from a fantasy perspective, but at the end of the day, from a real life football perspective. And I think a lot of people are big fans of DeAndre Hopkins. So I certainly like to see him go to a winning team at the moment, as opposed to a non-winning team, but we'll see what happens. I don't know, man, because it looks like I think it seriously could be the Patriots, as much as it pains me to say it. All right, Spence, what you do? Jalen Hurts, Breece Hall, ETN, A.J. Brown, Calvin Ridley, Deontay Johnson, Hawkinson, and Kittle, tight end premium league, both in your starting lineups. Gabe Davis, who's really been one of your guys, who I'm not crazy on, but I think you got decent value. I already drafted him. Desmond Ritter's your QB2 with a rotation of Taylor Heineke and Kyle Trask. A-Chain, Zay Jones, Gallup, Mechie, Mims, Ferguson, Musgrave on the bench. All that's fine. But, man, you have to admit that the QB2 spot's got to be a little queasy for you, man. If you believe in Ritter, that's fine. But, man, I just, don't get me wrong. You're still in a position where you can make a move for quarterback because, if I'm not mistaken, you have you did acquire an additional first-round pick next year, and it's Stevens, so, you're probably in a decent position. But, if Ritter gets you a decent ceiling on a consistent basis, 18 to 20 points. If he has a pretty decent sophomore year, then you're in a good spot. If he really comes on, then you look like a freaking genius. And at the end of the day, like, do you have to start a QB in the Superflex spot? No, but you should, right? So I think your team looks pretty good overall. Don't be wrong. It's just that second quarterback spot, is what it is. Thomas, hoping my QBs stay healthy. Guess I have Hendon Hooker if Goff went down on upgrade, but at least a body. I mean, yeah, that's... and I mean, that's the other thing is we don't know for sure that Hendon Hooker is even actually the quarterback 2 on the team. He's still got to earn that spot. All right, I mean, I guess I'm going Rodgers here because we got sniped. So maybe Jameson Q is listening to us, but let's just go Rodgers. I mean, I could go Carr and build a New Orleans stack, but I'm just going to take... there goes Carr. Yeah, I'm just going to take Rodgers and take the Lazard effect and hope that they have some big games together towards the end of the season. But, I mean, there's still a lot of New Orleans players that I'll certainly consider throughout the rest of this draft, but I'm just going to take Rodgers here and call it a day. I feel like I have a lot of exposure to Rodgers. Cats, hearing nothing but bad things about Lance from San Fran reporters, but I refuse to believe any of them. Yeah, I mean, they definitely, they're going to exaggerate whatever they can. That's part of what they do, right? So, we'll see, man. I mean, you guys know that I've been a Purdy believer, and that's probably not going to change anytime soon, but we'll see. All right, let's see here. Spence, if you have any max shares, you're praying D-Hop goes there. I guess that's true. Jado's praying D-Hop goes there so I can sell Mac Jones high. I mean, I guess I do have Mac Jones in one of our Dynasty leagues, so I guess at the end of the day, I'm kind of rooting for that in a sense. But gosh, I don't even know if I want to see that. I just don't know. All right, who am I drafting here? I need a tight end. Let's go with Greggy D. That's all we can really do right here. All right, let me see. Hold on, I need to get one thing pulled up here. All right. Spence says, honestly, hope Ritter gets hurt with Heineke. Yeah. At least you have both, right? Jerry, what's up, dude? I thought for a second he hit 250K subs. Not even close, bro. Not even close, but no. Top tournament prize for the Chihuahua on Underdog Fantasy will be 250K. But what's up, Jerry? How are you, man? Appreciate you stopping by. We got the OG mod squad in here tonight, Jerry and Spencer. Jibs, a League One blockbuster trade was mine. I mean, yeah, that trade was ridiculous. Let's see. Fantasy Dog says, I'm busting up this draft. Yeah, we'll take a look at your squad at the end. But let's see what we got here. Bijan, Chubb, Cooper, Fields, Kittle, Sanders, Quentin Johnson, Richardson, Zay Jones, Mooney, Tank Bigsby, Thielen, Jaden Reed. Yeah, I like what you're putting together tonight for sure. All right, I need to take a look at my team. 4 running backs, 2 quarterbacks, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 wide receivers, 1 tight end. Yeah, ideally we would have got Russell Wilson at the 12.10, but we got sniped. I mean, having Sutton and Dolchich, oh well. I mean, go Broncos, I guess. We'll see what happens. All right, so the only other move I can make at quarterback is going Bryce Young if I wanted another quarterback. I don't know if I really feel like I need one with Hurts and Rodgers. I feel like, the theory behind that is that we have Jonathan Mingo on this team. So, we'll see if Bryce Young is floating around at a good point. Other than that, I mean, maybe go Brock Purdy. They're kind of in similar ADP with Bryce Young at 178, Brock Purdy at 182.3. So we'll see what happens. But, we have obviously have Jonathan Mingo for Bryce Young. And then we've got CMC. You know, he does throw to Brock Purdy, or catch passes from Brock Purdy because CMC is good at catching the football. So we'll see. Need a little bit of running back depth here towards the end. So we might add 1 or 2 players here. Hopefully we can land Kenneth Gainwell. But let's see here. I mean, our next upcoming picks are pick 166 and 171. Kind of in a weird spot when it comes to ADP and who we're going to potentially go with here. So I'd like to add some more wide receivers, but man, we're kind of taking dart throws. We probably need to try and lock up another tight end sooner rather than later, especially with this little run here. Higbee, Juwan Johnson, Gerald Everett, Taysom Hill. So I think I might have to reach for Kenneth Gainwell. I think I'm going to go tight end than Kenneth Gainwell. I think it's just a weird spot for ADP. I could see if Gainwell falls out, but his ADP is sitting at 181. Our next pick after this turn is going to be at 190. So we're going to have some dart throws at wide receiver. And this might be a light tight end, light running back build. But like with McCaffrey, Hall, Walker, A-Chain, I don't feel bad about that. Maybe I'll probably go with an additional tight end. That's probably what I'll do. Jados, post mine Discord. But yeah, please do. Please do. John, what's up, man? My buddy is taking Mahomes at 1.1. I have 1.3. Should I draft Jefferson? Half PPR dynasty. John, let us know, of course. A little bit of context always matters. So is it a super flex league? Is it a single quarterback league? A half PPR is one thing, but let me know kind of what your overall format is, because that will definitely affect any potential advice. All right, let's take Sam Laporta. I mean, yeah, rookie tight ends don't usually work out right away, but I like the Lions. So let's take Sam Laporta, and we'll probably go with the veteran towards the end of the draft at the position. We've got 4 more picks here, so we'll probably go 1 more tight end, 1 more running back, 2 more wide receivers. I mean, not the greatest wide receiver room, but we went running back early, QB early. So Brandon Ayuk, Tyler Lockett, Jahan Dotson, Cortland Sutton, Allen Lazard, Jonathan Mingo. Like, we still have a lot of good names there. DPJ just went off the board. I like that pick a lot there as well. Senior Cinnabon, what's up, bro? Hello, hello. How are you doing tonight? Fancy Doc says, I wanted Hill. So freaking mad. Yeah, barely got sniped there. He goes out to 14.2. You hit the 14.4. J-Dub says, in Superflex, definitely going quarterback. Yeah, John, I mean, if it is a Superflex league, you definitely want to go with the quarterback position there at the 1.3, in my opinion, over Justin Jefferson. As much as I like Justin Jefferson, I mean, you're going to have guys like Jalen Hurts, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow on the board there. You got to go with one of those players over a wide receiver as good as JJ is. But yeah, just let us know what your format is you're looking at and everything. There goes Purdy to start the 15th round. So, I mean, this doesn't feel great, but I want Kenneth Gainwell on this team, and we're going to draft him. That's what we're going to do. So that gives us 5 running backs, 3 studs in C-Mac, Hall, and Walker, 2 that I like, and A-Chain and Gainwell. So we're going to want another tight end here, and I do think I'm going to go with 2 more wide receivers to kind of wrap this draft up. But yeah, I feel like we're in a, interesting team tonight. Like I said, trying to switch up the exposure overall. So we've got Hurts, Rodgers, C-Mac, Hall, Walker, A-Chain, Gainwell, Ayuk, Lockett, Dotson, Sutton, Lazard, Mingo. I draft all these guys, but still, in general, a very different wide receiver room than I'm used to looking at. Looks like we need to avoid weeks 9 and week 7 in terms of bye. And then we've got Greg Dulcich and Sam Laporta on the same bye week, one thing I missed. So we definitely want to take another tight end late who is not on a week 9 bye. So Dawson Knox, Hayden Hurst, Trey McBride, Noah Fant are going to be the guys that go after. And I guess we'll throw Cade Otton in the mix. Not super. I mean, we could go Tyler Conklin just because he's on the Jets and we have Aaron Rodgers. I mean, that's probably the only other pick that would make any sense. So, outside of that, looking at wide receiver, let's see here. We want to avoid week 7 and week 9, like I just said. So, Jalen Hyatt, Randall Robinson. Yeah, it's pretty ugly out here. We could go McCole Hardman purely because he's on the Jets. I like Terrace Marshall as a late round pick. That's about it. I mean, it is pretty dry at wide receiver. Yeah, it's not great. Go Randall Cobb, but I don't even feel confident in that. Like, I'd rather take the upside and potentially going with Hardman, which I don't even feel great about. I don't know why. Why is Dez Bryant an option? And why is his ADP at 215? Like, I mean, Trey Palmer's ADP is 216, which Keyshawn Boutte is 216. I don't know if, like, those guys are going to make their teams. A.T. Perry at 216. But I would still draft any of those players before Dez Bryant. But anyways, you can still draft Dez Bryant if you want to. So, just in case you guys were wondering. Cinnabon says, draft Burrow or Hurts, or if you really want Jefferson, you could trade down and get a haul for the pick. That's a great point. And Cinnabon says, I just get a top 4 quarterback since those guys are so valuable in Superflex. Yeah, if it is Superflex draft, you absolutely have to make that selection. But it's a great point. If you really have your heart set on Justin Jefferson, then potentially trade the pick, move back in the first round, and go get him. I mean, I don't have a problem with that, but if you're going to stay at the 1.3, then yeah, you can't go JJ over a quarterback in Superflex at least, which we still don't know for sure. Superflex league, but at this point, we're just assuming it is. So, all right, it's looking pretty grim out here at the wide receiver position. Dawson Knox is off the board. Bryce Young is still available, but at this point, I think we're set on a double quarterback build, and I feel okay with Hurts and Rodgers. I feel like out of all the quarterbacks out there, probably next to Mahomes and Burrow, I don't know, maybe like Fields, T-Law, Allen. These two guys are going to be pretty protected by the league next year, so. Kyler Murray's still available too, which would be a nice upside pick. But I mean, let's just take McCole Hardman. Hope he has a couple big games with our boy Rodgers. And I don't know, man. This next pick's kind of tough. I'm just in a weird spot overall for ADP. Like, I don't think really any of the players that I have queued, other than Cade Otton, can potentially come back to me. So if I get Noah Fant or Cade Otton, I wouldn't be upset, but I feel like I have to potentially go with Josh Downs or Terrace Marshall here because those are really the only available wide receivers who I have any faith in. And, I've been taking Terrace Marshall here and there as a late round value. So I might go Josh Downs here, especially because, Marshall's got the same bye week as Lazard, obviously Jonathan Mingo, and McCole Hardman. So, I'm going to try and switch it up and go with Josh Downs with this next pick. If he's not there, I'll just take a tight end and take a complete dart throw at wide receiver with that final pick. But, let's see if we can land Josh Downs, who I'm still a big fan of. Obviously not the greatest. I don't know. I mean, there's still a lot of back and forth in terms of the situation at quarterback with the Colts. But I think him and, Richardson coming into the league at the same time could definitely be good. Shane, what's going on, man? Good to see you. Hello, hello. Always good to have you in the building. All right, there goes Josh Downs off the board. We'll take a tight end with this final pick, and we will wrap things up. So, we're looking at Hurts and Rodgers, 2 quarterbacks, C-Mac, Hall, Walker, Achane, Gainwell, 5 running backs. Wide receiver, we've got Ayuk, Lockett, Dotson, Cortland Sutton, Allen Lazard, Jonathan Mingo, McCall Hardman, and Josh Downs. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 wide receivers. 2 tight ends, but we're going to change that and take a tight end with our final selection. And that'll wrap it up for the night. So let's see what Fantasy Dog put together. He's got one more pick coming up. And his final selection, Fields and Richardson. Certainly a lot of fun at quarterback. Bijan, Chubb, Sanders, Bigsby. Cooper, Quinn Johnson, Zay Jones, Darnell Mooney, Thielen, Jaden Reed, Chark, Hodgins, Khalil Shakir, George Kittle. All right, we'll see what you do here. I would assume you're going to get another tight end or 2, or maybe a tight end and running back would probably be the best way to kind of even out that roster. But certainly lots of good names across the board there for you. All right, guys, so make sure you guys hit that like button as we start to wrap up here. I am going to plan a stream. It'll probably be tomorrow or the following night, Saturday, in terms of when I want to do the Dynasty Review night. But I will let everyone in each Dynasty League know that we will be, or when we are going to be doing that. And that way you guys can all kind of get together. We can all get together and go over all you guys' Dynasty teams together and kind of what you guys want to do in terms of looking at the draft and how that went as well. So certainly excited for that. And we'll get that all planned together. Thomas, I could possibly use the upside of Bijan and quarterback spot to give me 20-plus points if needed. Feel comfortable I can put together a backfield between Kenneth, Charbs, Herbert, Chuba, and Foreman. Yeah. Like I said, you don't have to play quarterback in the super flex spot. Just generally speaking, that is what most people want to do. And generally, a quarterback's still going to get you more points than running back. But obviously, having a player like Bijan, you can definitely feel pretty confident there at the end of the day. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so we'll go ahead and wrap things up here. Make this final pick. We've kind of looked at each team here. So I think we're at a good point. So yeah, make sure you guys hit the like button on the way out. Of course, if you guys are new to the channel and you guys tuned in tonight, thank you for being here. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. And of course, check out the links down below. Follow us on Instagram, join our free Discord. And we'll kind of get some mock drafts going the next couple days. Definitely redraft mocks. And like I said, we will do that Dynasty Review stream as well. So appreciate you guys who came out tonight. Thank you guys for hanging out. Hopefully this team goes the distance. If it does, I will remember everyone who was in the chat tonight, I promise. Cinnabon, I'm a little scared to have to rotate Mac and Pickett over the next year or two. I think one of the two, they both give you a safe enough floor. And I still think there's enough of a safe ceiling coming with Pickett. I think you're okay. But I can also see why you might be a little bit nervous. Because those guys haven't shown us a great amount of upside. But we'll see what happens. Fancy Dog, thank you for drafting with me, ma'am. Thomas, have a good night, ma'am. And I'm going to make this final pick. It's going to be Noah Fant, who I'm kind of surprised fell to me, but I'm happy with. And that is how we're going to end the stream. So, love you guys, man. Love this community. Love the Catch fam. Thank you guys for hanging out tonight, talking fantasy, and drafting another Underdog team with me. Of course, you guys can double your first deposit up to $100 with promo code TheCatch on Underdog Fantasy. And that'll do it for the night. So, with that, I'll say thank you guys so much for watching and or listening. And remember, yes, Odd here on The Catch. And